Hi everyone, I'm Teena. I'm a PhD student at the University of Surrey in the Faculty of Health and Medical Sciences. I'm supervised by Dr. Agnieszka Limanska, and our research kind of looks into nutritional interventions in patients receiving chemotherapy for pancreatic cancer and understanding how these interventions and the chemotherapy itself then affects body weight fluctuations and then goes on to affect patient outcomes for these patients. So just a bit of context in the first few slides to understand why we were doing what we are doing. Now the pancreas is an abdominal organ. It's situated between the stomach and the spine. It's got two very distinct functions, an endocrine function and an exocrine function. The endocrine function of the pancreas is quite well known. It's actually the secretion of insulin for blood glucose regulation. And the other exocrine function of the pancreas is one of its digestive functions. That is the secretion of digestive hormones, and that's what we're going to briefly touch upon today. So pancreatic cancer, it's one of the most difficult and lethal cancers. It's difficult to diagnose because it's got very non-specific symptoms. Ordinarily, symptoms of pancreatic cancer could include abdominal pain, back pain, fatigue, jaundice, new onset diabetes. Now, these are not very specific symptoms which kind of point exactly to pancreatic cancer. Also, it's one of those cancers where the rate of progression is rapid from the first stage, where the cancer is confined within the pancreas, to the final metastatic stages where it's, spread to the nearby organs, the lymph nodes, and the blood vessels. So it's one of those cancers which is diagnosed only in the advanced stages, which makes it very difficult for the patients to kind of undergo curative surgical resection, which is the surgical removal of the tumor. And it actually causes a large number of patients, around 80 to 90% of those patients, to depend on other forms of treatment like chemotherapy and radiotherapy. So for these patients, in the event of a pancreatic cancer, when the pancreas is structurally and subsequently functionally damaged, it's no longer able to secrete the enzymes that are responsible for digestion. So it leads to a host of complaints in these patients like abdominal pain, difficulty digesting food, subsequently leading to malnutrition. So it's very similar to diabetes. Like for an individual who can't produce insulin, there needs to be insulin that needs to be supplied externally in the form of oral hypoglycemic agents or subcutaneous injections. And that's how PERT is provided as well, in the form of these capsules, which help with digestion for these patients. And these help in improving the nutritional status of the individual, also help them to maintain a healthy body weight and a body composition that then allows them to undergo these aggressive forms of treatment like chemo and radiotherapy for the pancreatic cancer. So this is an important piece of guideline that I just wanted to highlight. It was the NICE guidelines in the year 2018 that recommended that all patients with pancreatic cancer having unresectable or non-resectable pancreatic tumors, which can't be removed completely by surgery, they also need to be receiving PERT, in addition to the patients who are receiving surgery and having the pancreatic tumors removed. Open safely, this is why I will just touch on why we actually used open safely for our audits that we carried out. We carried out a national audit to understand the rate of PERT prescriptions in patients with unresectable pancreatic cancers. And the reason we did that is because we kind of felt for most patients experiencing these sort of non-specific symptoms, their GP, the primary care provider, is most often the first point of contact. That is where they are referred to further imaging tests or biopsies, further referred to other tertiary or secondary centers, and that's why we looked at open safely data, because it provided us with a wealth of primary healthcare records. So we carried out a national audit using the Open Safely platform. We wanted to understand what was the effect of the COVID pandemic on PERT prescribing. We also wanted to look at the regional PERT prescribing and the national PERT prescribing rates. And we wanted to understand over the years, what are the trends in PERT prescribing over the last 9 to 10 years. This is one of those graphs that I wanted to highlight. It's from the West Midlands region. You can see it's got 10 years of data from 2014 to 2024. It's just about these guidelines that I mentioned earlier in 2018. The first black vertical line is the national guidelines that was introduced. Now, guidelines can sometimes be implemented and sometimes not really implemented in the real world. But you can understand in 2019, when the quality standard came out, so the guidelines suggested that all patients with unresectable pancreatic pancreatic cancer need to have PERT prescribed, should have PERT prescribed ideally. The quality standard mentioned that all patients with unresectable pancreatic cancer need to be receiving PERT. So that kind of gives an impetus for the audits to be carried out to understand, are these patients who need to be receiving PERT? And as you can see in the graph, there hasn't been like a sudden surge, a sudden increase in PERT prescription after the second green line, the quality standards introduced. Then we looked at the lockdown in 2020 to understand if that caused a massive dip in PERT prescribing, but thankfully it hasn't. It's still not as high as the trend projects it, but it's still not low as well. This is another study. It's a Qualis study led by Dr. Keith Roberts, and this is one of the studies where we're trying to feed into using our national audits. This is a study that actually looks at recruiting clinical nurse specialists from each multidisciplinary team in the UK. It looks at an intervention that's provided to the nurse specialists. This intervention includes information on PERT, what is pancreatic exocrine insufficiency, why is it needed for these patients with unresectable pancreatic cancers, how it improves symptoms in these patients, and how it helps them cope with different forms of treatment such as chemotherapy and radiotherapy. There are 2 local audits that are carried out. One is the pre-intervention and one is post-intervention, and then the efficacy of the intervention is assessed as to how efficiently PERT is being prescribed for these patients. What we intend to do is, as part of the intervention, we plan on highlighting the data that we have observed in primary care and explaining about the various trends and things that we've observed. This is one of our publications where we've used Open Safely data to improve healthcare, where we've kind of fed back with, in terms of engagement sessions with healthcare providers, with patients and carers, about how important pancreatic enzyme replacement is in pancreatic cancer. This is a bit of how our dashboard looks like. It gives out information of why we're carrying out national audits for PERT prescriptions. It's got these different regions where you can go into particular regions and look at how the PERT prescription is with those primary healthcare providers, and it gives you and presents you with all these graphs. Future plans with the current shortages in PERT, as some of you might know, we're looking to commence work on our second publication that looks at the impact of PERT shortages on the lives of these individuals who are receiving chemotherapy and are on pancreatic cancer as well. And we also work with the Pancreatic Cancer Action Group and look at creating engagement sessions for patients, for carers, and also for healthcare providers for them to better understand the need for PERT prescription. Thank you.